YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with another NFL tiers video heading into the 2022 season. We're talking quarterbacks today. We're talking potential elite quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks, guys that are highly debatable. Where do they place? I have 5 tiers. Split these up into 5 tiers, so we're going to talk about quite a few quarterbacks in this video. This is one for you guys to play along with, for sure. I want to see in the comments your thoughts. A lot of these highly debatable, for sure. Always talking with you guys on Twitter. We got a bunch of these videos up on the channel, more to come. We'll eventually do rankings, rank all the quarterbacks for this year. When I do rankings, I predict where they'll rank for the upcoming season. So maybe that's a little bit different. This elite tiers video is based on right this second, right now, and we'll break it down here in just a second. So like, subscribe, turn notifications on, full NFL coverage here. Cannot wait for that season to start. Here's our Twitter. Kind of gave you guys a little sneak peek of the video I'm recording right now. The Eagles signed Jaquiski Tart. We talked about that. News and more here. We're going to have bonus content coming to our Twitter in the very near future too, as we got accepted by super follows there, so into super follows. So check us out there, link down below. We're going to start at the top for this one. Usually go from kind of bottom to top, but this one we're going to start at the top. Elite locks, non-debatable, not up for debate. These guys are right this second. Not predicting this year or anything with this. We'll do that with my player rankings in the near future, very near future. These guys are elite locks. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go, well, what if this happens? No, like, these guys are going to be elite. They are elite right now, all the way across the board. And it's not in any order here. Again, we'll do the rankings for every position in the near future. Aaron Rodgers, the reigning MVP, definitely up there. Tom Brady, the GOAT, obviously up there. Kind of the older guys there at the top, and then 2 younger guys there with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And Josh Allen probably, I didn't do this video last year. Would he have been in the elite lock last year? Probably not. I think he kind of solidified himself into there. And before that, he was kind of like, he's an elite, elite football player here. He's going to be elite. Can he solidify himself in there, as elite lock? And I think he did that last year. I mean, what he's able to do, how much of a game plan problem he was for teams. And I mean, just super effective in the passing game and the running game. And that's just why he's a big problem for teams. So, and getting better too, which kind of makes sense, because he was kind of known as a raw prospect, obviously, what he can become. And he's kind of a lot further along in that process at this point than even the people that loved him, thought. So that's the great thing. Patrick Mahomes has definitely proven himself already. Any of these guys are up for debate for the best player in football. If you're going to predict MVP, maybe these are the top tier guys. It was Rodgers versus Brady last year, but it could be Allen versus Mahomes. There's some other guys that I think will be in that conversation that we'll talk about. So I kind of titled this video Elite or Nah, because a lot of these are debatable. These ones are not. I think everyone watching, I think we're all in agreement that these guys are elite right now. So that's the top tier. And next tier, I think these guys are about to be elite locks. Are they elite this second? It's really tough to say. It's so tough to say because they have such a small sample size right now. They have elite play under their belt. They have elite traits, especially Herbert. They flash eliteness. But it's, would everyone say they're in that lock elite today category based on what they've done? I think a big chunk of people will say no, because they haven't done that much. If I were to predict the season, I think these guys will be. With the other guys, I think they'll play at elite level. They'll be up in the MVP conversation, obviously. But for these guys, I think it's the matter of just getting another season under their belt. I think that's what it is. I think they're elite with another season under their belt. You kind of just need a little bit more experience for all of us to be like, yeah, these guys are locked. And I think they, like I said, I think they're about to be locks. I think they really are that good. So Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, which is debate between just the two of those guys, I've noticed over the last year or so, is really heated up. It's really an interesting, heated debate between Herbert and Burrow, or which one is better. Herbert maybe a little more flashy, has more of the traits, more of the elite traits than Burrow, perhaps. But Burrow, insanely accurate, insanely smart, gets to the Super Bowl last year. So there's good arguments for either side there. I think both of them are. I think they'll have elite seasons. I think they did last year. I think it's just kind of like you just need another one of those under your belt to actually be those Aaron Rodgers, your Tom Brady's, maybe that's even another category, but Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. It's like Josh Allen last year was probably in this category, I'd say. Just, it sure looks like he's elite. He's flashing it. Let's get another season playing like that under your belt there. That's kind of this category. So Herbert and Burrow, can't wait to see these guys play. Definitely in that MVP conversation. Borderline elite to me, and this is, if you're predicting these guys to be elite this year, then I think that's a good prediction. I think right now, and even if you think they are right now elite, it's like borderline is pretty much elite. They're close. They're close. And Matthew Stafford, fresh off that Super Bowl, he was never really considered close. And everyone considered him great. I don't think he was ever considered close to elite. Like, Stafford's great, will be better on a better team, which was proven. But no one ever really considered him elite. Now, 1 year on the Rams, winning the Super Bowl, is that enough to be like, yeah, he's elite, So it's kind of borderline there. He does need to take care of the ball a little bit better if we had the nitpick to for sure be elite. And then Russell Wilson, who, I think if it wasn't for last year, I think it would be a lock. I think it'd be a lock, having that injury, which is a legitimate excuse. There's a legitimate reason to think, he doesn't have the injury anymore. He's on a solid team in the Broncos. He's going to be elite. So that's why this is kind of one of those ones where it would have to be a prediction in my opinion. I don't think you can call him a lock right now today. It's a very good prediction to say he will be elite. I think it's a very good prediction, but we kind of got to see it in action, because even when he did play last year, not the best Russell Wilson we've seen. Especially towards the middle of the field, kind of mainly focused on the sideline. Maybe that's the way the Seahawks offense was with those types of receivers. They very well could be. So I'm excited to watch him on the Broncos. And him and Stafford kind of in the same category. They are in the same category here, and they might be in the same category on their situations too, because the Rams, a great team, just needed that quarterback to win the Super Bowl. They go trade for Stafford, and they win the Super Bowl. And then the Broncos, great roster, need that quarterback. They go trade for Russell Wilson. So kind of comparable there in that way too. It would be something if the Broncos went and won a Super Bowl, and it's kind of back-to-back years trading for a quarterback that could raise the price of quarterbacks in the future there. So these guys are borderline. If Matthew Stafford wins another Super Bowl, then I think it's a for sure lock. I don't care how many interceptions he throws, really. I think it's a for sure lock. And if Russell Wilson gets back to playing that dangerous ball there, I think he's just staying healthy. I think he's back in there too. So just some questions for the 2022 season here. Lamar Jackson has his own tier. And the interesting debate, the interesting topic of Lamar Jackson, is he elite? And I've brought this conversation up before. I've probably confused people. I still probably confuse people. But my take on it, overall, you say Lamar Jackson. You just come up to me and say, Lamar Jackson, elite or no? Elite or nah? I'm going to say elite. Lamar Jackson's elite for sure. But then we talk about, I think he's an elite player because he's so dominant, because he's so much of a problem, because he can take over, he can come back. You're down X amount of points, it's never over because you have Lamar Jackson. He's just that good of a player, that good of an athlete. So I think he's an elite player. We separate it though. We get specific. We talk about quarterbacks. Is he an elite quarterback? And you say if he's an elite player, he's an elite quarterback. And I definitely could agree with that, but it's so interesting when we talk elite quarterbacks and you rank quarterbacks. If you're going to rank quarterbacks, I think most people sit there, not everyone, most people will sit there and say, all right, Aaron Rodgers may be the best passer in football, or maybe it's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. You start ranking these passers, and I think most people would rank Stafford or Russell Wilson, Herbert, Burrow, guys like that ahead of Lamar Jackson when ranking quarterbacks. But I think you're more likely to call Lamar Jackson elite over some of those guys just because of the dominance. So it's weird. It's interesting when it comes to, in my opinion, when it comes to Lamar Jackson, because again, if you just say Lamar Jackson is the elite, I say yeah, just because how dominant he is. But we talk about him as a passer, and we got guys that I'm not really considering an elite quarterback, elite passer that are ahead of him in rankings as a quarterback, so it's tough to say elite quarterback. So it's just such an interesting topic of Lamar Jackson here. So elite player, elite quarterback, again, that might not make any sense to some people. That's just how I look at it, because it is different. It is different to me. And some people may take that the wrong way, like he's not a quarterback. Not at all. I believe in Lamar Jackson as a passer for sure. I think it can only get better from here. And he hasn't had the best help at the receiver position as well. So I view Lamar Jackson as an elite player. That's how I view him. So I'm excited to see if he gets that contract. Excited to see him healthy this year. Hopefully he stays healthy to be that elite player that he can be there. And then the last tier, the guys that I came up with, they're not elite in my opinion. Haven't been elite yet, except for Matt Ryan. He's been elite, so I shouldn't say that. But can be elite. Kyler Murray, very young. He shows those flashes, especially early last year. Maybe he was at the top of the charts of the MVP candidate, and like that guy looks elite. You kind of need more of that under your belt, but for a full season at the same time and show you can kind of win the big games. So those things, maybe take care of the ball in crucial situations in games. So some things left to do, but he's very young, and it's very realistic to think that he's continuing to get better. If he plays, that's why it's tough too, because like I said, like Herbert and Burrow, I think the way Murray played in the beginning portion of last year was comparable to Herbert and Burrow, their full seasons. And I said those guys kind of need another one of those full seasons under their belt. Murray doesn't really have that full season yet, but if he plays like he did that MVP Murray in the first 8 weeks or so last year, like that the full season this year for the most part, not every single game, you know what I mean, because even Tom Brady has slip-ups. Just a full season like that, I think we could boost him up pretty damn high to that elite category. Dak Prescott, obviously elite production, but I don't view him as elite. He's probably closer before that playoff game. I wanted to see him execute a little better in that playoff game. It didn't look like the same regular season Dak Prescott. I was hesitating to make throws that tough throws that he makes in regular season. So I want to see him kind of be more consistent against the best teams, win the impact games, and kind of take over like he does in most regular season games for me to consider him elite. But he's pretty damn close. I put Derek Carr, Murray and Prescott, I didn't have to hesitate to put them in this category. The next three guys was like, you had to think about it a little bit. They're not elite. Can they be elite? A little more of a question. Like Murray and Prescott, I think we're all in agreement that they can be elite. I think there might even be people that put them in a better tier than this out there. So those guys were no question that they're on this list. The next three guys are definitely debatable. I think what's non-debatable, they're not elite right now. But it's debatable if they can be elite. I put Derek Carr in there. Very solid. I like the way he clutched up at the end of last year. I really love what I saw. He's kind of known as, can he win the impact games? Can he take over? Can he get the team to the playoffs? The Raiders kind of get that label as well. Can they not choke at the end of the year? Can they figure out? I thought led by Carr, they did that. We need to see a little more of it, a little more consistency. But, now you got Devontae Adams in there. We would think they got a better offense the way they're going to run it with Josh McDaniels. But yeah, having Devontae Adams, who he's played with, but arguably the best receiver in football, and what Hunter Renfrow is becoming on top of that, I think Carr deserves a shot here. I think we can say he has that chance to be elite here in 2022. And then Matt Ryan, maybe I had to think about it a little bit more because he's definitely declined, and he was elite, and it's been some time. So you automatically assume it's like it's not really getting better from here, right? It's just he's kind of declining. Even if he goes to a better team, it's like, how much better could he be? But you really sit there and think about it, and the difference in offensive lines between the Falcons and the Colts really did me in here and put Matt Ryan. I think we don't have to backtrack too much for Matt Ryan to kind of be close. I'm not expecting him to be elite this year, but kind of close or in that conversation to this guy's playing at that level. So and with a good staff under Frank Reich and the Colts. So I thought he deserved a shot, and I put Trevor Lawrence in here. And people may question that because he struggled a bit last year, and it's only his second year. But I think people focus too much, especially when talking about the second-year quarterbacks. They just focus on what exactly happened last year, and that's what's going to happen this year. It's just not the case. But kind of not really besides the point. But I kind of just go back to the prospect evaluation because to me he's still a prospect, and this guy was one of the better quarterback prospects we've really ever seen. And you see what Patrick Mahomes did in his second year. I know he took his first year off learning in that system. What Josh Allen, the jump he made, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, the jumps that these guys made. We can talk about other guys too, Kyler Murray, other guys, the jumps that these guys made, that early in their career was insane. Insane. They were already kind of in that elite category pretty early on. I mean, they're still early on. And Trevor Lawrence was really, people will forget right now, but he was really a better prospect than those guys, so new coaching staff, better receivers over there, good, solid young weapons. I think it's possible that Trevor Lawrence, because I think people were just forgetting how good of a prospect he was, how good he's supposed to be. I think too focused. I almost view the year one as a wash. I think people look at it as like, and there's probably some people out there that kind of agree with me in a way that like, okay, yeah, he could be elite because he's Trevor Lawrence. Remember that prospect, he's only played 1 year, but then, people may go, well, not really close to yet because he was kind of bad last year, so he's got to go from there to a big step up. But I don't really look at it that way. I think, he's not starting this year there. I think it's kind of a wash. It's kind of it almost going to feel like a rookie year with the new coaching staff there. So I'm excited to see Trevor Lawrence. I'm still very high on him and what he can become for sure. I do think it's a long shot for us to be calling him elite after year two, because he's probably going to need a lot more under his belt. But he can make that massive jump because he's that talented. I think hopefully they're doing things right, or at least they're heading in the right direction there in Jacksonville. So those are my quarterback tiers for elite quarterbacks, potential elite, the debatable ones, the borderline guys there. And this will be different. This wasn't rankings. This will be different than my rankings. For all my rankings, that if you guys remember, if you've been following us, I always predict the upcoming year because I'll do rankings at the halfway point. I'll do rankings at the end of the year, so we kind of compare. I kind of predict with my rankings on who will be the best quarterback in 2022 because we are previewing the 2022 season once we get to that point, which is right around the corner here, which we kind of are right now anyways. So that's just how I do things here. So hopefully you can join us. Subscribe, turn notifications on. We got that full NFL coverage here. Follow us on Twitter. A lot going on there. You're missing out if you're not following it. If you don't have a Twitter, I'd recommend making one. Link down below for that. But that is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.